Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this week, we're going to come up with 3 recipes using potatoes. It's not your average potato. So for today's video, we're going to be making 3 recipes using the humble potato. But y'all, this is not gonna be your average potato dish. Last week, I went and ate at the Cheesecake Factory for the very first time, and it was so delicious. If you follow my vlogs, you would have already seen that video. But today, I thought, let's make mashed potatoes better than your average mashed potatoes. Because if I'm going to a holiday event or I'm having people over to my house, I want them to have amazing dishes that are so delicious and just a little bit more than your average meal. So I thought that today I would do copycat mashed potatoes from Cheesecake Factory. So for this first recipe, this first potato recipe, I'm going to be making a copycat mashed potatoes from the Cheesecake Factory, which were delicious. They were amazing. And once I started looking up recipes, I realized that these mashed potatoes have 2 secret ingredients that we will share with you later in this video. But first, we're gonna get our potatoes chopped and boiling on the stove. I'm using red skin potatoes because that's what they use in the Cheesecake Factory recipe. And I'm leaving the peelings on. So I'm just gonna get these washed, I'm gonna get these chopped, and then we're gonna get them on the stove boiling so that we can make these delicious mashed potatoes. The ingredients that are going to take these mashed potatoes over the top is butter, Gouda cheese, and some creamy style horseradish. And here is my big bowl of those creamy mashed potatoes. I did sprinkle a little parsley on top just for looks. But look at this dish, y'all. Would this not be a showstopper for a gathering? These mashed potatoes are beautiful. All right, so here are our lovely copycat, if you can see that, Cheesecake Factory mashed potatoes. They are not that hard to make and they smell delicious. Let's give it a taste. Tastes just like Cheesecake Factory. It's creamy. It has a smoky tanginess because of the Gouda and the horseradish. It is amazing. You guys, you need to make this and take it to your next holiday gathering because this is not your average mashed potatoes, and this is delicious. Hey y'all, it is time for our next potato recipe that is not your average potato, and I am really excited about this recipe as well. I love French onion soup. I feel like it's a delicacy. If you've never tried French onion soup, it is delicious. So today, we're gonna try a recipe that's not your average potato. It's French onion potatoes. So for this recipe, we're gonna use some potatoes, obviously, and we're going to use some onion soup mix, some French onion soup, and some Gruyere cheese. So, the recipe calls for 2.5 pounds of russet potatoes. I happen to have 1.5 pounds of these yellow potatoes that I need to use. So I am going to cut the recipe in half, and I'm going to be using these potatoes. I will link the original recipe down in the description box below, but I have my oven preheated to 375 degrees. I need to get my potatoes diced, and then we're gonna put this, not your average potato dish, French onion potatoes, in the oven. Okay, we have our potatoes cubed. We are gonna work on our soup mixture. We need to melt 1 stick of butter. So we're gonna melt 1 stick of butter that we're gonna be adding to our soup mix. All right, we have our butter melted. We're gonna add in our can of French onion soup. The recipe actually called for 1 can of soup for the 2.5 pounds of potatoes, but I feel like I needed to use the whole thing. So I went ahead and used the whole can for the amount of potatoes that I had. So mixing that soup in. And we're going to mix in a packet of onion soup mix. I just went ahead and used the whole packet of onion soup mix. I just feel like this is a lot of potatoes. I don't know. I like mine extra flavorful, so I'm just going with it. So let's say I'm loosely following this recipe, but I will have it linked down in the description box below. All right, so once I have this all combined, we are going to get this mixed with our potatoes. This is my baking dish. I'll put my potatoes in here. All right, so there are my potatoes in my baking dish. I'm going to pour a buttery soup mixture over the potatoes. Like this. I'm gonna give them a little bit of a stir just to make sure all the potatoes get some of that soup on. Oh, this is already smelling great. I mean, potatoes and onions, like what? Okay. I'm gonna cover this with aluminum foil tightly. And this is gonna go in a 375 degree oven for 30 minutes covered. It has been 30 minutes. We're now gonna take the foil off. Oh my goodness, that smells so good. And we're gonna put this back in the oven. It says for another 30 minutes, just so those potatoes can absorb all that soup. The potatoes are almost done. We're gonna shred up this Gruyere cheese, and then we will add this to our potatoes. Here are the potatoes out of the oven. They are bubbling. I'm gonna take my 1 cup of Gruyere, put that over the top. And then the recipe says just to cover back with the foil so that the cheese can melt. All right, so here are those French onion potatoes with the melted cheese. Let's give this a taste. Here are those French onion potatoes. I just have them on a paper plate tonight, y'all. They smell amazing. Look at the cheese. These are really good. They're so soft. And full of flavor. Wow. Those are delicious and they were so easy to make. Wow. This would be an amazing potato dish to take to your next holiday gathering. People are gonna love this. Okay, so for our next potato dish that we are doing that is not your average potato, we're using sweet potatoes. We're gonna be taking sweet potatoes and we're gonna make garlic Parmesan roasted sweet potatoes. Now that we have our sweet potatoes washed and peeled, we're gonna slice them. Just like this. Next, we're going to melt 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm just gonna melt mine in the microwave. Next, we're gonna take a Ziploc bag. You could do this in a bowl if you want. The recipe I'm following said to do it in a bag. In a bag I don't have to wash, so we're doing it in a bag. So we're gonna put our sweet potatoes in the bag, add 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. I'm just gonna eyeball it. That looks about good. Salt and pepper to taste. So I'm gonna do 2 pinches of salt, pinch of pepper, some Italian seasoning. Just gonna eyeball that. All right. Then we're gonna put in Parmesan cheese and grate it yourself. This is what I have, so I'm just gonna put a big handful, just eyeballing it. A tablespoon of olive oil. I don't have much left, so I'm just gonna add what I have left. And then your 2 tablespoons of melted butter. All right, we're gonna close up the bag. I'm gonna give it a shake. Now that that's all combined, so all the potatoes are coated with the seasoning, butter, olive oil, Parmesan cheese, pour it into a baking dish. And kind of spread them out. Now you could take your time and make these all pretty in a nice little pattern. I'm just making sure there's an even layer. Now I'm gonna put my potatoes into a 400-degree oven for 30 minutes. Here are those garlic Parmesan roasted sweet potatoes out of the oven. Let's give it a taste. All right, here we go. Our garlic Parmesan sweet potatoes. Can you see that? Focus. It's got the seasoning, the Parmesan. Let's taste. That It's so different, but a good different. You've got the sweetness of the sweet potato, but then the tartness of the Parmesan. This is really good, and this is not your average sweet potato. It's good, y'all. So there you have it. Those are 3 potato dishes that would be great for a holiday gathering because they are not your average potato dishes. They were delicious, and I will leave the recipes linked down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.